south of Box Canyon, the river flows through a big meadow section that encompasses about 7 or 8 miles of river. This starts at Last Chance, where our store is located, and then the river flows through the famous Harriman State Park. There's a rich history of this part of the river. When we first opened our store in the late 70s, the Harriman Park was then owned by Roland and Averill Harriman. They also owned the Union Pacific Railroad, and so it was known as the Railroad Ranch. It seemed to be discovered by the fly fishing writers about that same time of year, and you couldn't pick up a national magazine, it seemed, without reading about the Henry's Fork. This is a real challenging part of the river, and people come from all over the world to fish there. The fishing is still very good in the Harriman Park, but it's a little different than it was early in the 70s. In those days, I think there were a lot more fish in the river, but I don't think that the average size of those fish were as big. The fishing is very challenging, and I don't know of another place in the continental United States, at least, where you can have a chance to fish a dry fly to a rising trout that might be 24 inches long or bigger. The Harriman Park opens for fishing on June 15th. June 15th marks a real busy time in Last Chance when anglers come from all over to get there at the start of the fishing season on the ranch. Another reason that's a popular time is because we get some of our best mayfly and caddis hatches at that time of year, the most famous being the green drake that starts coming off on the river around the 15th of June. Green drake nymph. It's a big old mayfly. You can tell a mayfly from a stonefly because the mayfly's gills are on the sides of his abdomen. Later in the season, the fishing usually gets a little more difficult because the insects that the trout feed on get smaller. However, one of the great things about the Harriman State Park stretch is there's always some kind of important aquatic insect coming off that the trout can feed on. This extends on into September and even into October when the last of the mayflies begin to emerge. There are about 12 major mayflies that come off on this part of the river, and I don't know of another place that has this much diversity in aquatic insects. See, there's the ant. And then this is the other thing that's on the water. See what we're dealing with here? It's the complex hack. See that? That's a calabatus. So what we have is just a lot of stuff on the water. There's another calabatus right here on the water. You find a fish and you gotta decide, well, what's he feeding on?
That's a nice, oh, yes. Yep.
Where you know you don't have a prayer right from the start, you just know you don't.
Yeah, pretty much this time
You have
of year.
no chance. When the line's going down there and you're Alright, there he is. I finally got one. Pretty fast. Yes! We finally got
Henry's Fork Anglers.
rich history and continued excellence.
Henry's Fork Anglers is proud to support Henry's Fork Foundation, Trout Unlimited, the Federation of Fly Fishers, the Nature Conservancy, and other advocacy groups whose primary objective is to preserve and enhance the resource we enjoy.